Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to give you an update on my meditation data dashboard visualization here, and also answer some questions that you might have regarding, why should I pick up meditation? What's Hemi-Sync? What's the importance and what's the purpose behind doing this? And I hope to have some quantifiable, objective, biometric data rather than just what you hear from these spiritual gurus and new age people who have a lot of things to say but not a lot of backing it up evidence. So before we get started here, I wear a Fitbit. So this is the Inspire, I think it's the new one, Inspire 2 or 3. I've had an Inspire 2, the older version, for about 4 or so years, and starting on January 1st, 2023, I started getting really into meditation and, writing down my dreams in a dream journal. And it just so happens that the Fitbit has been recording that data for, as long as I've had it, and even through the upgrade. So I've exported that data from Google and tried to link it up to the past 1,000 or so days that I have of my meditation notes. So I've been doing Hemi-Sync for, about 1,185 days, if that's right. And basically from January 1st, 2023, it was like a New Year's resolution kind of a thing to actually, pick up a good hobby for you, like meditation. And Hemi-Sync has a nice protocol for that, and I had, done a little bit of initial digging and had a little curiosity, and so that's where we got started. So that's kind of how I got into Hemi-Sync. Obviously the CIA paperwork and all of that kind of remote viewing and mystical hoodoo, voodoo kind of stuff was also very compelling as a draw, which I can make some content on that in my experience if that's interesting. But the main purpose of today's video is to provide some biometric evidence to this very out there kind of meditative practice, I guess. So I've incorporated all the data from the previous dashboard update video. One thing to note again is that ever since I picked up using Obsidian, I've had much more cohesive notes. So I had to backfill, which is basically just means like guessing on my, my meditations and which ones I did, because I really only started using like a Google Word doc to start writing things down about my meditations. And then so I had like maybe a 50-50 split of whether or not I had good data from my meditation sessions. And then I started using Obsidian, which is a specific kind of open source free note-taking app. And that got me up to, I have 826 logged in Obsidian, and I only have 114 for the days that I didn't make. So that's somewhere about, 1/9 of them are missing, as opposed to 50%, and then a question mark here. So some of the new graphs I have on this are my heart rate variability. Heart rate variability is a measure of your level of recovery physically. Now, they measure that in athletes to assess the level of readiness, and Fitbit likes to push that metric a lot. But it's basically just how much the difference between subsequent beats of your heart have. So it's a measure of your responsiveness to stimuli. So your heart rate can be high or low, but that won't affect your heart rate variability. It's the actual speed at which your heart changes its baseline. So it's how quickly you can get from being calm to excited, or how quickly you can calm down from going excited to calm. And that's a measure of that. So your ability to basically, create that homeostasis, that's what heart rate variability is doing in a very high level. Resting heart rate is another very interesting measure. So typically you'll see your resting heart rate start to go down as you get better at meditation and Hemi-Sync. And that's because of you won't be getting stressed out. You won't have random cortisol spikes throughout your day. You won't have things that are causing you immense stress and making it so that you have to stop what you're doing and have anxiety or panic or worries. It lets you basically metabolize those ideas before they become an excess and stress. At least that's what I've found in my experience. So let's dig into some of the other interesting things I've added. So this is my journey heat map of the different audio tapes. So Hemi-Sync has 8 or so different waves, and this is a journey of, and you can see back when I started in January, it's kind of hit or miss. This is all like, whether or not I have done a tape or not. And then when I started writing them down in a document, that's where you see it starts getting filled in a bit more. And then once I picked up doing Obsidian, that was around September. So we can see there's a massive jump of filling in all of these dates in September past. Now, personally, I progressed through Hemi-Sync quite quickly, and I reached the end of it, and I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? I'm just doing the absolute, the Wave VIII, Union 8, the final tape, and I just kept doing that and doing that and doing that, and for months at a time even. And you compare this with other kind of traditions, and I'll talk about some of the stuff that I did on, with Magic and the other side with these audio tapes, but basically different exercises in your mind. Stuff like mental yoga. I can talk about my mental yoga. That would be fun. But you can see that all throughout these years. And then I started branching out because I realized I'm going to go back and retry different parts of it, retry different Focus 12s, retry different Focus 21s, so I have a really comprehensive understanding of each level, just because I kind of already mastered it. And I went back and I've gone through all the tapes probably about 3 times. I've done complete sessions through from start to finish, from Wave 1 to Wave VIII. And typically Focus 27 has the most utility, at least for my means, and we'll get into that here. Here's something interesting now, pairing the biometrics. So these are my recent meditations. They're usually about an hour long. I just grabbed an hour time slice from my Fitbit data. And you can see that my average heart rate, when I really lock in, like on this one here for Union 7 Inner Earth, my heart rate can go down to 47. And I'm a 210-pound adult male. 6 foot something adult male. I like to say I'm 5'8", but somewhere around there. And my resting heart rate is somewhere around the 50s, mid to high 50s. When I sleep, it can get anywhere as low 40s to even touch the 30s sometimes. So if you get good enough at meditation, you can literally see your biometrics go into that deep sleep state. That's probably one of the best things that you can gain physically from meditation, is that ability to just, go out like a light when you're trying to go to bed. I know a lot of people struggle with getting to sleep at the right time, or just sitting there ruminating. But when you meditate, you gain tools, and Hemi-Sync builds out a really nice toolkit for you to be able to basically grapple these ideas and let them not manhandle you as you're trying to rest and go to bed. So that's some of the biometrics. I hope to have some more quantifiable ones, or some more granular, but this is just a first attempt at this. Here I've broken down the different focus levels into their own kind of tab, and if there's anything interesting you'd like to see from these, please let me know in the comments, because I have a lot of data and it's hard to visualize all of that data. Here is a graph that shows basically where I spend the majority of my time. Now, I don't have a lot of comprehensive logs from when I first started out, and so that's why I hope to put together some resources to help you guys not have this gap from when you first started to when you became, whatever level you want to get at in this, however far you want to take it. But I really only have a few from the Wave 1 sessions recorded, and you can see it gets more because I've started taking better notes the longer I've spent meditating. And then I spend a majority of my time in Wave 8, which Wave 8 has probably the widest branch of utility, I would say, out of these audio tapes. Wave 8 has, there's 8 unique activities you could do in Wave 8. And I guess if you're going to be doing meditation for 1,000 days, you'll get there eventually. But the absolute is a very interesting place. It's akin to what the Zen Buddhists would call shunya, which is void meditation. There are some other Christian traditions with the Rosicrucians who practice what's called the silent prayer, the prayer that consists of no words. It's a prayer where it's just absolute stillness and reverence and repose. And that act of full submission to God is similar to what happens in the absolute. Practically speaking, if you're somebody who deals with research or with ideas or in that plane of wanting to be creative or maybe artistic, you can get a lot of utility out of things like the planning center. So planning center is how I organized all these ideas and created my YouTube channel, and basically an exercise in the planning center is watching ideas go from the Earth life system to this kind of Akashic background, this kind of abstract place where everything that could exist is spun into these threads, and they come and the energy translates from Earth up to the heavens and from heaven back to Earth, and you can see that. And when you learn the process of how these threads get woven, you can gain a sort of understanding and a mastery of how to weave them yourself. And you can create things like this on a whim. For a more concrete example, Tesla, I like to give him as an example. He got violently ill, and in his illness, he was contacted by these aliens, or maybe not the alien part, but basically he was sick for a long time, and in his sickness, he came out with this kind of evolved state of a mental simulator. He basically had an entire physics engine in his head, and he could simulate different electronics, different lengths of different mechanisms, and test them out before actually building them in physical reality. And all of that came from something very similar to what's going on here in Wave 8 in the Planning Center. Tesla invented alternating current, I believe, and that invention came from that principle that you experience with the push and the pull of the material world and the heavenly world. So I think that's a pretty good overview of this. The whole experience thing, the EXP and evolution level, that's just kind of a gamification. Let me know if that's something interesting that might be good for creating a, kind of like a streak or like a dashboard kind of a thing, to keep people on progress. I have some questions here that I think I've answered, but I'll go ahead and I'll answer them as well, explicitly. Why should I meditate consistently? Is it doing anything? And beginners will feel like I'm just sitting in the dark, I don't feel any different. That is a very valid feeling and expressed concern. That is basically what it is like. It's, to use an analogy off the top of my head, it's like fishing, okay? You throw a line into a pond, there may or may not be fish. You get a tug, it might be a boot, or it might be, a really big swordfish. You never know. And so when you're a beginner fisherman, you got to start out with reeling everything in. And sometimes you don't get the best thing. Sometimes you fish a little boot out of the water, and that's what you get. And that may be how it is for the first however many days, tens, maybe even hundreds of days. It's really a process, and it really is a self-mastery thing. You should really only compare it to your previous days, because that's how you progress. So another question here is, what can it actually do for me in the real world? I would point at the fact that my heart rate variability is pushing 94 on average across this entire stint of meditation, and my average resting heart rate has gone down. So heart rate variability being high is a good thing, because that means you're more capable of responding. You can respond quicker to stimuli and reach that baseline faster. And having a lower resting heart rate is typically less stress on your entire circulatory system. You can recover better. You don't get those blood pressure spikes. I typically don't get lightheaded, and I'm a pretty big guy, and I do a lot of exercise, and that might be a byproduct of meditating. Focus 15 is a very important level to master through Hemi-Sync, because Focus 15 is a state of no time, and that also goes into this. If you're always stressed out about time and stressed out about reaching deadlines, Focus 15 helps you contemplate a state that's beyond time. And if you don't believe me that's it may or may not be a real place, but it is a real state of consciousness that you can access. It's baked into your brain like an antenna. You can receive on any of these channels. It just takes practice. Another question, why Hemi-Sync specifically? How is it different from normal meditation? Well, Hemi-Sync is a well put together protocol. It's, I say well put together, but the CIA studied it for practical usage during the Cold War for remote viewing and spying on these Russian labs. And they buried all of the real documents, and they published all of the kind of hippie nonsense stuff. But if you go to the source, and that's what you'll realize all life is going to the source. Robert Monroe is the guy, and a part of the Monroe Institute. He was the one who created and studied and did a lot of this work. And so the Hemi-Sync tapes are produced or developed by him, and they're basically the best exercises that he could pick from that whole collection. Another question here. How long until I see results? I've been doing this for a week and I'm still distracted. So, to point back at a practical example, when I first started, these are all backfilled, basically. I don't know, you'll be hit or miss your first month or your first 2 months or however many. If you start taking detailed notes, you can accelerate your process. And that's why I'm putting together this YouTube channel and these free resources like an Obsidian note-taking app. And hopefully even a community of people who are also doing Hemi-Sync better than the Reddit page, which is a doozy to go and read that. So you'll have a progression sort of like this as well. Another question here. What does a deep state actually look like? So what does accessing, let's even take Focus 10 as an example. What does full mind awake, body asleep, what does that look like? It's different for every person, but I can do a deep dive on that to really explain it in depth. But if you look at, if you have a physical Fitbit, like a biometric measure, you'll notice you enter into near REM sleep states or near deep sleep states. For example, different exercises call for different levels of alertness and wakefulness. When I go into inner earth and I do some deep work here, my heart rate is going to drop to like deep sleep. But when I'm doing something like planning center and I'm being very active and I'm trying to like maintain focus, you can see it's up to 55. It's quite higher. And it also depends on the specific kind of whatever your configuration is for the day, whether you wake up on the right side of the bed or not. But yeah. Another question, what if I miss a day? So meditation is great in the fact that you can't really unlearn it once you learn it. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, and I can go more on that. But meditation is a skill that once you have it, you can't really unlearn it. It's like riding a bike. When you know how to get into Focus 10, you can just do it. And personally, from my experience, the tapes progress at such a pace where you may seem like you're not ready, and I may not have been ready to progress at such a pace, or at least felt like that when I was progressing through the earlier tapes. Because he'll tell you that, from now on, you can immediately enter this state by thinking of the number 10 in your mind, repeating the number in your mind, and inhale. And that's hit or miss, but the more you practice it, I will say the more your neurons fire in that pattern, and you can hook back into that mindset. So those are a few questions that I got here. And this video is just supposed to be kind of a short update on what's cooking. I'll go ahead and show you the Obsidian interfaces that I've also been working on. So I'm trying to build out a nice little template structure for people to be able to record their meditations. And I'm going to try to make it as minimalist as possible, but let me know what would be helpful for you as a beginner to visualize your progress, to stay engaged, almost like Duolingo kind of, but for meditation. I want to make this as easy to get into. And especially with I have some pretty wild meditations. I would not want them to be shared on, the internet, for some of them at least. You have crazy dreams. You don't want the whole world to know them. So Obsidian is great because you can set it to be local, or you can set it to sync if you pay for their service and their cloud hosting thing. But Obsidian is a great note-taking app because it can be completely local. And none of the files, they're all written in Markdown. None of them can ever leave your machine if you don't want them to. But that's the whole idea with this, is I want to put together some templates and some dashboards so that way you guys don't have to go through that backfill process of just guessing and trying to gain insights from when you started. If you start with a good system, you're going to make rapid progress. And that might be why a lot of the times people give up on meditation. It's because they just don't see the results. If you have a Fitbit that's telling you, hey, your resting heart rate is going down, your sleep score is going up consistently over weeks and weeks and weeks, that's something that really benefited me in staying with it, because I was obsessed with my Fitbit. I love data, and that gave me direct, measurable results that I could plug into, and I could meditate on. I could be like, man, I want to increase my recovery from the gym. I want my heart rate variability to go up, and I'd meditate on that. And my body would just kind of figure out a way to do it, because the subconscious doesn't discriminate between what's real and what's not. That's why movies are fun. And that's why listening to music is fun. You get to pretend to be in that kind of reality. And your subconscious and your emotions can't really differentiate between that and what actually is general consensus reality. I've also put together some of these, just some of these PDFs here that might be important. These are the actual official source documents, and maybe I can do a deep dive on some of these. These figures, a lot of these come from the Bentov novel that I was talking about. It's called Stalking the Wild Pendulum. But here is essentially what I was trying to create in a more up-to-date manner. So this is the suggested personal record for Hemi-Sync. So it has the name, the date, the time of the day, the location, the body position, body temperature, mood, energy level, previous exercise. I want to put this in where you can just click a button and it has pretty much all the information you need automatically filled in. Because we have technology and we can do that, and it's very simple to write a template for that. Personally, I only recorded the time of day, the focus level, and the audio tape that I used, as well as the big notes, the general notes column. Sometimes I would have a game plan, so a specific objective for the exercise. That would probably really help if you have a game plan. But a lot of this other stuff is more logistical. You don't really need to know whether you have your full light or none clothing, your head pointed in what direction, stuff like that. But maybe I could make a more comprehensive template if phase of the moon and room temperature. Yeah, make sure you have a thermometer before you go and meditate. Something like distracting factors might be important though, on a scale of like 1 to 10 or whatever, because sometimes you have people knocking the door, you can't find the neighbors being loud, things like that, lawnmowers. Anyway, this is what I'm trying to templatize and turn into practical for utilization and accelerating your progress, because there's a reason the CIA looked into this stuff. The brain is a very complicated machine, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I'll do a deep dive on some of these papers here. This is really just the entire, it even says it here. The sources are figures A and B from Bentov's Stalking the Wild Pendulum. If you want a good book, read that. That is a good book. And yeah. So that's about all I got for today. But man, there's so much good content here. I could talk about the whole energy conversion box and the utility of that. The energy conversion box, to put it briefly, that's basically turning all of your stress into positive stress. You basically take all the things that are weighing you down and turn it into free energy, and you use that to create and channel it positively. For a practical example, it's like you could channel your aggression into painting or something like that, but you do this all mentally. Another interesting thing is the resonant tuning. So this is a breathing exercise that helps you visualize and charge your entire system. I like the way that they present that to you in the first few tapes. It's very fun. And then here's the different focus levels. I could do my experience versus what is written here and see how that compares, because that might be something that's very interesting to see. So there's a lot here. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Maybe we can make it to 30 minutes if you guys want some content that you can sleep to. Maybe I can go through all of these. Maybe I'll do my favorite exercise. My favorite exercise. Let's see what they say about this. And they have Q&A here as well. Maybe I could go through that. Actually, this one cuts off at wave probably 6. It doesn't go into the wave 8, because the wave 8 was actually made after Robert Monroe passed. I think he's dead. And so he actually only voiced up to wave 6, I believe. He only voiced up to wave 6. So the other ones are voiced by, I think, his son or some relative, which is very interesting. Let's go back to a more practical one. So for you guys, what you would want to work up to is getting into focus 10. And once you're in focus 10, there's an exercise called 1 month patterning. 1 month patterning is a really good exercise to do, because it lets you, it's a low level version of that planning center in 27. You only need to get to focus 10 to do the 1 month patterning, and basically you can shape your future, at least subconsciously. You're basically hypnotizing yourself into it was in here somewhere, but here it is. Yeah, threshold 3, 1 month patterning. You get to pattern and channel your thoughts We deliberately make these choices in high energy states, and our patterns emerge around us, reshaping our life. This is where a lot of magic gets its power from. I say magic in the loose sense, but sigil magic is staring at a picture and embedding a meaning into your mind. It's the same way that we get emotions from emojis. You can hook a pattern into any visual stimuli, and that gets embedded into your subconscious. But 1 month patterning is a great one because it's measurable within a month. If you say, I want to get to focus 12 within a month, boom, there you go, 1 month pattern up. So, and here are some key, I'll share this document for you guys, and I'll do a deep dive on this as well. But I'm going to wrap it up here. We got to the 30-minute mark. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.